the NPCs. You cannot rely on the music. And we are underway here, starting at Link's house with a small key to Turtle Rock, 1 of 4.
Yeah, our runners will at least need 3. There is a chance they'll be able to skip that 4th one, as long as they're fine with skipping the lava chest of TR, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. Now, of course, with Key Sanity, there is something that is known as key logic, and it's very difficult to explain exactly in a case-by-case basis, but the long and short of it is, assume the worst case scenario for using your keys in a given dungeon. That is what the logic will assume. So, we'll use Desert as an example here. Because you can get a key from underneath a pot, as we get the map to Eastern Palace here, if you get the key under the pot on the back of Desert Palace, you could probably think, oh, I'll use this key to get the 2 chests on the right side of the front half. And that is a valid option. But as a result, you don't have the small key in order to go to the rest of the dungeon and then fight the boss. So as a result, Lamola's, by the key logic, is locked behind both the big key and the small key of the dungeon.
Exactly. You know, it's not uncommon for runners to, not worry about logic, especially given that we are talking Invitational League here, but it's one of those things you want to keep in mind, because it also kind of dictates, hey, this is something I could find within Ganon's Tower or not.
Yeah, and it gets a little bit tricky when you get to dungeons with a high key count, like Palace of Darkness, which has a lot of items, but has a total of 6 small keys, so it can get kind of interesting to see how your keys get routed. Hoardercraft's giving us money, and we have Poultry's bombs as well, so nice and well stocked for this first leg of the race.
We are getting a quick check of the Lumberjack. Looked like it was just a heart piece or container.
It was indeed a heart container, so Lumberjack thankfully not required to be done sooner. And that's actually a good thing, because in all Dungeons and Seeds, ideally you want to save Aghanim 1 for last. That's just so that you're warped right back on the pyramid, and on top of that, you get a full HP and magic refill for Ganon. Now, that's an ideal situation. The seed may not be so kind as to let them do that, but at least they don't have to do it for Lumberjack.
We do get our first big key for Ice Palace. That one is actually not required. Well, logically required, but our runners should be able to get through Ice Palace without it.
That is true, but it's a nice thing to have because they can at least check the big chest on their way through Ice Palace now. And leaving that chest behind isn't the ideal. And of course, as you said, it is not technically required because our trick runners most likely know the icebreaker technique. But if the key is in there, they might need that key.
Even then, I expect our runners could also look into going back to the old reliable Ice Palace bomb jump, of course.
Of course. Now we saw there that Rick picked up a compass to Swamp Palace, real quick there. The compasses don't do much for our runners, but if you're new to Key Sandy, they are actually quite helpful. They actually tell you the amount of items you can find in the dungeon and how many of them you have picked up. There we see another compass, this time to Skull Woods.
We also get that map to Swamp Palace, so unlikely we'll see too many map checks in this kind of race. Knowing that you have to clear everything anyway, our runners will likely stick to just clearing what they can, and then as they start figuring out the pieces, then they might do a map check late, but it's very unlikely.
Yeah. I can see them checking the map for information that the green pen or the 5-6 crystals, just so that they can see, oh, this check might be done sooner rather than later because there might be an item behind it. But other than that, yeah, I don't see them doing many map checks. And we get the hookshot there in the well. And another big key, this time to Tower Hera. And with the hook shot right next to it, Tower Hair is another big key we can skip because of recently allowed tricks known as Parapod. Well, relatively recently anyway.
Recent in the lifetime of this game, at least.
Yeah.
Of course, other than that hook shot and a couple of big keys, we haven't found a ton yet in Kakariko.
Oh, there's the mushroom. That could be useful somewhere.
And of course, that hook shot will make a trip down to Mini Moldorm Cave a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, if you use the hookshot right, you can even use it to just give yourself a little bit of speed boost here and there across the overworld, hooking onto trees and the like. Alright, library today has only 20 rupees, so we don't need the boost for that. But we still might need them for Desert or something in the Bonk Rocks. Or Kingston. And you can see Rick is doing exactly what I was mentioning actually with the hookshot there.
And Phant is going directly into race game. Usually in like an open mode, you might just scout it, but given key sanity, you are more likely to need this item, so a lot of runners will just go straight for it.
And indeed, we will need this. It is a small key to Turtle Rock. That is our second one.
So Phant is making their way down to the dam, and probably will head over to Mini Moldorm after that. Not a lot of reason to head over to Agina yet. You know, maybe if we had a book very early, but given we don't really have extra checks, Mini Moldorm seems the obvious play here.
Yeah, although I will also argue that I have seen players check the dam, check Agina, and then save warp, and then go back down to Mini Moldorm. Takes a little bit of time, but you don't leave that location isolated, which has mattered every now and then, actually. And the big key is to Dark Palace. That is most assuredly required. Good find there.
Yeah, and it's been a relatively healthy seed so far. Runners are already up to 7 hearts.
Alright, here's our first look at Mini Moldorm Cave. Easily dispatched with the hookshot here. Ooh, they're in the bond dropping group. Nice. Get a boomerang, some arrows, the flute. Alright. And the moon pearl. Alright. Good items in the Dual Cave.
Definitely, and that will probably make it a lot easier and feel better to have to probably head over to Agina for that check. You know, if you have that flute, just flute over to 6, and you really save a lot of time rather than having to walk. Plus, it's convenient for checking the Desert Ledge item.
That is true. Although, the more likely play here, what we're going to see is they're going to flute up to the mountain and check Paradox Cave, because that is 7 items alone. Go for the high density play here, which is also pretty valid. And with us being only a hammer and a glove away from Darkhold access, going for more locations seems more likely than going for a single one.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would kind of draw a runner away is saying, hey, can I maybe save trips around the mountain? A less times I have to, or the fewer times I have to climb the mountain, the better.
Yeah, the play would be even better with the hammer, because then they could just do Hero while they're there. Alright. Both runners flew in 8 does not leave Ice Star Cape behind, although it's just to come to Eastern Palace. Let's see where Phant goes next. He's heading to Desert Ledge. And we'll check Yagina as well. I do like this. Making sure you don't leave these one-offs behind.
Yeah, Agina is definitely one of those things that a lot of runners have probably been burned on. I think everybody's got a horror story in terms of that.
And today's the map to Hyrule Castle. A bit of a dud there. That's one of the 2 maps that does not actually give us information. The other map, of course, being to Ganon's Tower.
And now we're getting that play up to Death Mountain. First, we're going to not see some great darkroom work, as Phant is going to rescue the old man. This would technically require a lamp, but, you know, our runner's well-versed in these dark rooms.
Yeah, even more well-versed than I am, using the hook shot to see in the dark.
Yeah, usually, you know, in terms of levels when it comes to learning the dark rooms, you know, you go from I need the lamp to I need a sword, and then you start reducing that item pool down to this level where really navigating with just a hook shot. We do get that mushroom turn in though, and we find a small key to Dark Palace, or Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and I believe Rick saved before then, so if that wasn't anything important, he probably resets to keep the mushroom for fake powder. Which I have seen people do. Map the Ice Palace for rescuing the old man. More information. We're likely to see a map check here soon, I believe, but not right now. In part because the map would most likely be used when they go turn to Dark World. Just to get an idea what dungeons they have of information on.
Inside of Spectacle Rock, unfortunately, nothing this time, but we do see that small key up there. So just gonna kind of store that in the back of the mind, saying I have to come back with that mirror.
Yeah, and the mirror is the faster way to get to Hera. Rick using the boomerang to get through the darkness meanwhile. Getting bullied by Keys from the sound of it. Lower Paradox has only 40 rupees. Rick is out with the old man.
Makes it through with a heart and a half left, and unfortunately, getting bullied by everything.
Yeah, dead rocks, the boulders, not really fun. But with the same with the old man save, does go the same equipment. There's our bug catching net and our boots. There we go. And the map to Ganon's Tower, the other useless map. There's a glove and there's a sword. So good haul from Mini Mold or not Mini Mold, Paradox Cave. Another small key on Floating Island. And the only check that Phant has left up here on the mountain is Spiral Cave.
At least it will not be a walking spiral cave. Not always one of the worst feelings having to walk around this cave for sure.
I mean, oh, well, there's our Tiny Smith and there's our Darkhold Axis, and actually that works out nicely because now we can check the Dark Depth on it.
Yeah, another 6 item checks. Plus the information of knowing our medallion for Turtle Rock.
Yep. Ooh, doesn't quite get the block up there, but thankfully, just takes a few seconds to walk around to fall down the pit here. Super Bunny having a small key to Turtle Rock. That is the third small key.
Seed is giving us a sign, it seems. That Turtle Rock, you're going to go in there early, and you might have to go in there with unideal equipment at this rate.
Well, we still need the medallion for it first. And the hammer. And the bombos. And the Cane of Samaria. So, not looking too likely just yet, but yeah, 3 small keys. Probably won't need to enter sooner rather than later. Let's see what we get here in Hookjack Cave. Small key to Dark Palace. I believe that is the second one we've seen.
Yeah, we saw the first one off that mushroom turn in. As we also get the flippers.
So yeah, it'll be the first for Phant then, yeah. And the small key to Desert. That is a one-off key. So good that we have that. And starting at Link's house. Gonna head over to Meyer.
Find out that the other medallion we'll need for the seed, and 2 quick checks out of Meyer Shed. That was the Quake medallion.
Yep. Probably gonna save over after this, leading to the Sanctuary.
But nothing really important out of Meyer Shed this time.
Still starting at Link's house. I see some of the bird. Oh, that's clever. Using the bird to reload the or maybe that was the accidental mash. There's the flippers now for Rick.
Yeah, if you have the mirror, Sank's not a bad place to start. But if you are just, starting out, Link's house or the mountain cave are usually your faster start points.
Well, true. I will argue one thing here, and that is checking the boots checks. Which Phant is doing right now. Figured I would get those done a little bit sooner, is all.
Meanwhile, Phant is dropping into the back of Escape. We'll get 3 items out of there. Won't be able to check the rest of the escape sequence without that small key, but at least 3 items.
Yeah, we're gonna see the bonk
Just
rocks from Rick.
unfortunately nothing of value.
Yep. Bonk rocks from Rick. And it's only bombs, so... There's still a few items to check with the flippers, but other than that, it's time to go to Dark World, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, what we're going to see a lot in this, especially in the early game, is the runners are going to try to avoid dungeons. You know, unless you can clear it, you don't want to have to double dip a lot.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. Because double dips can eat up a lot of time.
Yeah, there's definitely dungeons that you can head into, leave, and not feel like you'll lose any time. So we might see a dip into Thieves Town. But, you know, some of our longer dungeons, such as Pod or Turtle Rock, our runners are really going to want to be able to do those in one trip.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. But at the same time, I've seen plenty of Randomizer. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but you have to dive those longer dungeons. Only for progression so that you can return later. Well, there's the one medallion we did not need either. In Sea House there. Still has its uses though. It is the fastest medallion animation, and does kill Stalfos enemies in one shot. And there's the half magic too.
Yeah, definitely a very nice piece of safety this early. You know, we don't really have anything to use it on, but always an appreciated utility.
Yeah. Rick, meanwhile, checking the big key chest of Skull Woods. Another check that really need to come in here. You're that often to do. And it's only for 50 rupees, but hey, every little bit helps. And a small key to cast.
Yeah, one of the most important small keys in an all dungeons key sanity race. There are 2 of them out in the world, and you could almost call them their own ice rods in a sense, because they can really be anywhere in a seed.
I mean, you can say that for most of the keys in Key Sanity, to be honest, especially the big keys. But yeah, Castle Tower small keys are definitely one of the keys we are going to be looking for a lot. And just that one small key is enough to give us both the items in Aga Tower should we need to go up there. Well, we do need to go up there, but if we need to go up there for the items. Big game. 8 days for a bottle. Not bad. Nice and quick.
And it is our first bottle, so we might see Sick Kid sooner. And it does look like Phant is going to head back, and I'm guessing this is going to be a pickup of... yep, there's a Smith pickup, and we'll probably continue this Dark World loop, at least as far as Hype Cave, possibly even up to Catfish.
Now, if I'm correct, that small key that Rick just picked up at Skullwoods is always there in Key Sanity. Purely because of potential soft lock shenanigans. At least I think it was Key Sanity that it was forced to be there. I don't remember completely. And it looks like the Ice Rod was also in Skullwoods, we missed that. I'm being told it's only in there in Cross Keys, yes. Yeah, so.
Yeah, the logic behind those keys has changed a few times, I believe.
Yeah. So it's easy to get that confused. Thank you for the correction, chat. High cave check, compass to desert, small key that leads to swamp. That is a big one. The cape, the quake medallion, and 300 rupees, that gives us nearly enough money for Zora. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you know, you talk about all those keys. That there is only one Swamp Palace small key, and it locks the whole dungeon. So at this point,
Yep.
we're just looking for a hammer and our mirror to be able to do Swamp.
Yeah, we cannot do swamp at this point in time, but having that small key is a nice relief as far as I'm concerned. Sick kid check now with the bottle we found. Gives us a map to Skull Woods. So we now know that dungeon's a pendant or crystal. And the cape is nice too, because we can use the cape to get the first check out of like a tower. Second check, of course, is in the middle of the dark maze, so we won't be getting that, at least in logic.
Yeah, might be a good idea to also see move over to Bumper Ledge.
Bumper Ledge, definitely a valid option. Spike Cave's not available just yet because we need the hammer, but having the cape for that is also nice, especially with half magic. We're taking another death there. I believe that was intentional for the health refill. And just to get out of the dungeon faster. We don't have the mirror yet.
Yeah, and Phant did check Lake Hylia Island. It was just a red rupee, so we'll not see our runners collect that. But we are getting all the flipper checks as well. And Phant is definitely hoping for 50 drops somewhere, or some kind of rupee drops to just get the rest of the way up to that 500.
And got a flute away, probably to 7. No, changing course to go check the Eastern Palace area. There is a good money grinding spot in the little alleyway leading to desert, so could use that to get the money for Zora, but this is more proactive, and I like that this play as a result. Another map to desert. Heart piece and 20 rupees here. Right.
And we're not actually going to see a Sahasrahla check for that green pendant information.
I suppose it's nice enough to have it as a surprise. And yeah, Etrel in chat is correct. They don't need it for the. They don't need the info per se this seed. And speaking of which, Etrel is our tracker this evening, keeping those items up to date for you and the keys as well. And we've already got quite a bit of items, so they've been doing an excellent job thus far.
But Rick is going to check out Big Bomb Shop and find out Desert Palace and Pod are our 5-6 crystals, so that will give us access to the Pyramid Fairy later.
Yeah. Picking up that information, there's reasons to skip it because, of course, it is all dungeons. But there is, of course, the other hand in which you may need to prioritize those dungeons with a reward behind the prize first, because that prize might be, well, required progression that we need in order to finish other dungeons. So there's an argument for both sides here, and I'm kind of okay with either side, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a short time investment. I think especially when you talk about Sahasrara, that's, a few seconds given you're already there. While the big bomb shop is a little bit more time to devote to it.
And there's 100 rupees on the pyramid. We're going to ignore that. And looks to be continuing the Frog World Tour all the way up to Catfish, even.
Given that this is our only way over to this side of Dark World right now, it's not a bad idea to at least check this. For all you're going to see, this could be the hammer over here, and, it is required to make this kind of trek.
So far, it looks like Phant's dip into Eastern Palace looks to have been fruitless. Got 20 rupees there. Doesn't look like it was anything else important that I can immediately glance at. The Catfish has the Master Sword! That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a long trip to get over there, but well worth the time given, that increase in offensive power.
Meanwhile, Phant is going to be checking the Zora region, the other side of this area of Hyrule. Small key to Dark Palace, and a heart container. I believe that is our third small key to Pod now. So if we can get into Pod, which we can, a bit there, but may need the bow for a little bit more of the checks. And Zora has a key on the ledge, so the flippers may have already paid out.
Yeah, as we were talking about the key logic of dungeons, Pod is definitely one of the more complex ones to learn. But generally speaking, you need 4 keys to fin. Wow. Fire Rod for 500 rupees.
That's well worth it. I believe this is also the second scene in a row in which Zora's had a rod on him. So, just Bombos and Case of Mario for our intended access to Turtle Rock. Oh, and of the hammer, of course. I almost forgot about that. We need the hammer to open the portal. But yeah, taking the fire ride, going straight to Mothula makes sense to me.
Yeah, especially given Phant hadn't done any of the Skull Woods checks earlier, so this becomes a dungeon that will be pretty much a full clear now.
And we'll find the ice rod as a result. Meanwhile, Rick is turning in the purple chest here, and will we get the powder?
Okay.
Which means we can check magic back later, and that's also a very nice thing to have, just spawning fairies at will. And we have also got the bug catching net from Mini Molder King, which means Rick has infinite fairies. Basically. Or at least as many bottle fairies as he wants.
Now, Rick has been kind of focusing on these overworld checks. These pretty much little one-off checks, just trying to clear out the overworld, while Phant has definitely put their focus on the dungeons just to see what's there. As we did get a look at Bumper Ledge, and that was another bottle.
Yeah, not required, but could be useful. But Rick's choosing to ignore it, and that makes sense to me. If it was a bottle in Graveyard Ledge, I'd probably pick that up, but if I had to go all the way through an entire case system, nah. And yes, the swords are correct here. Phant does not have the Master Sword, as that is on Catfish, as we know it. So this will most likely be a Fighter Sword Moth. Not exactly an easy fight, but it is doable.
Yeah, and that half magic will make it at least a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, because you'll have a bunch of fire red shots for it. And it will only take 4 to kill them off with good aim. And a bit of luck that Moth doesn't careen into spikes and negate that damage entirely. Alright, first look at Pod here from Rick.
Now, Rick only has 2 pod keys right now. Hadn't gone up to the to Zora for that 3rd one. But that doesn't change much from a logical perspective on what is available.
Oh, is it only 8 hits for the fire rod? I'm never sure. With how many times he bounced off the spikes, I never am sure how many times I need to cast it. I know the Moth only dies and has the same health as Helmsley King and Argus. And it's only because I've seen how the fight goes in Randomizer with Tempered Sword. Speaking of Tempered Sword, Rick picking that up in Palace of Darkness, and the Moth is the green pendant! So there's our important information right there.
And unfortunately, Rick was gonna try to go to the Bowlock side of Pod, but forgot nothing in the bottle, so we can't actually do that.
Yeah, and Rick might bail as a result of this. With only 1 small key, it makes sense not to waste on the front door, but gotta go in anyway. Oh, we already wasted a key, never mind. Or already used the key, rather.
And Phant just finished up in Skull Woods. We'll see where... Oh. Ironically, not a save and quit. Instead is actually going to return out of Skull Woods back to the rest of the Dark Overworld.
Well, there's our bombs tonight in Turtle Rock, or not Turtle Rock, Palace of Darkness, which will let us enter Turtle Rock. Can't go any deeper than the first room, though. Not until we find, the King of Samaria. The key of Turtle Rock. Oh boy.
Wow, this seed is really screaming Turtle Rock soon.
Really is.
So yeah, that hammer and cane of Samaria are all we need, and at that point, our runners could realistically go for a clear of Turtle Rock, only skipping the lava chest.
Now we're seeing some pause buffer shit from Rick. Very common thing you do when you're setting up the hammer jump here. Hammer jump. Gets it. And the small key to Meyer, 1 of 3. But most of the small keys aren't needed for Meyer.
Yeah, the small keys present in Meyer are enough to really get everything. All that one small key does is kind of help us route the dungeon a little better.
Yeah. And here's Phant. About to be a little disappointed. Cane of Burna in the Dark Maze. And there's the Master Sword for Phant.
So at this point, we've seen a lot of divergence from our runners, but we have a good sense of where, where the runners have to go, or could go at this point. Misery Mire might be a good play with just that one small key. Could clear at least most of the front. Obviously, would have to leave behind the big chest and Vitreous, but could still do a lot of damage there.
Yeah, alternatively, they could... Well, Phant at least can go turn in the green pen and see where that is, and if that happens to be Arcadus Samaria, yeah, that's kind of telling. We should probably go to Turtle Rock, shouldn't we? There is also the option... Sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say, it's, the big problem here is the dungeons we want to visit, we just don't have a way to do much in them without Cane of Samaria and Hammer. As a runner, you don't want to necessarily go into Ice Palace without that hammer.
Yeah, and I'm 100% in agreement there. Something else they could do, and I was going to mention this, is they could go and check the first chest of Aga Tower and hope that that's the hammer of the Cane of Samaria as well. But regardless of where it is, it's pretty safe to say that the hammer or the cane is our next bit of progression here.
And really, a trip to Aga Tower would be a good idea, and not for just the Aga Tower play right now, but also a play into Hyrule Castle. We haven't seen the front half of Escape or Dark Cross yet.
Yeah. Oh, and we don't have... Did we find the Hyrule Castle small key yet?
We have not, but our runners did check the back portion, so not an important find, really. We do know that all of Escape is in Logic at this point.
It actually isn't. I actually do know a little bit of key logic there, and after the first guard, because you can use the key on the Dark Cross doorway, all the way down to Zelda Cell is locked behind the Hyrule Castle small key because it expects you to use the keys wrong. So,
of course, I always forget that the assumption there is going to be you're going to do something wrong.
Yeah. Key logic, best way to explain it, assume worst case scenario.
Yeah, you kind of expect a bit of a... The runners are going to be smart about their key usage, but the logic to make sure you don't soft lock anything or hard lock yourself in the game is to assume you can't use them or do not use them in the proper way.
Yeah. But so, going to Hyrule Castle is a good play in my mind. Alright, here we have now from Phant.
Meanwhile, Rick is heading through the back of Skull Woods towards that Mothula fight. A nice set of equipment, tempered sword and a bottle for safety at this point, so it should be a fairly straightforward fight here.
Yeah. Has to be a little careful, but there does have a red potion that he picked up from the bottle toss in the Waterfall Fairy Cave.
And instead of pulling out that bottle, was instead able to switch to the cape. Nice little awareness to realize, wait a minute, I have a much easier way to do this fight without wasting that potion.
Yeah, good awareness there on Rick's part. And also saving that potion for potentially doing the camera break in Pod, which he was going to do earlier but forgot. He didn't have a potion filled.
And it does look like Phant's actually gonna use their third key to check the vanilla big key chest of Pod.
Alright, let's see if it's worth it. Small key to Meyer. Honestly, based on what we know, not really worth it, but not the worst thing.
And we are getting a reset there.
We plan to turn in only a piece of heart.
And I think Phant wasn't happy about finding that tempered sword down there. Was fully ready to reset after finding a Meyer small key, but didn't want to take that reset after getting that tempered sword.
Yeah, he at least knows it's there. I can pick it up before heading over to Humble Searching later. But yes, I do agree with what he did there. Save quitting there, or resetting there to prevent him using the key to have a better routing with his keys later.
But I think based on everything we've seen at this point, I think Phant going over to Misery Mire is probably the right move. We've seen Eastern Palace. The only other dungeon really we haven't seen that we can do anything in is the Ice Palace.
Oh, and I think with the reset, didn't that also prevent Phant from getting the Bombos Medallion right away?
No, Phant made a very heads-up play to take a death and do a save and continue from the back of Pod, so all that was lost was that Meyer key and the Tempered Sword.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was worried for a moment there. I gotta say though, this has been very upfront with making us be a spell sword of sorts. We got pretty much all the combat magic we could ever want. Even some defensive options. And the half magic to boot.
Yeah, we've definitely got a lot of the items that allow you to move around the map very nicely and decent offense as well. It's just some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff we want is the ability to actually complete dungeons right now.
Phant having to do this dungeon the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, unfortunately, those whiz robes not helping in trying to make that quick.
Yeah. It was still possible if it went from the outside, but went for the push block instead.
And we get a GT small key out of the cutscene chest of Misery Mire. We still have 4 items left to check here, though. Meanwhile, Rick is heading towards Hyrule Castle, so I think this will be both escape, probably Dark Cross, and hopefully also a check of those 2 items in Aga Tower. And that is a huge find with the mirror in that first chest of escape. And yes, it's newer. Definitely one of those tricks that we've seen used a lot more in League. Meanwhile, Phant also finds the book in the spike room of Misery Mire. So both plays definitely helping out, and we get another pod small key. And the big key to Desert Palace is in Mire. With that small key and the big key both out of Mire, or sorry, the book and the big key out of Misery Mire, that means we have the ability to full clear Desert Palace. And Rick is going to head for the Aga Tower play first. I'm guessing we'll finish up in Dark Cross, but can't be sure right now. To the point of, will this draw Rick away from or to the Mire area? I think there's actually an argument to be made that this will bring Rick closer to Desert and Mire, because there's a lot more density in that zone right now than there would be to head towards any other region. And that does clear out both chests of Aga Tower for now. And it does look like, I think there's a good chance, yeah, Rick's heading back into Hyrule Castle, at least to check out the Dark Cross. But there's everything in the front of Desert. So Phant will be heading towards the Lammolis fight now. And Dark Cross just giving us another 300 rupees. Yeah, depending on what we find out of Desert Palace, or on Lammolis, or on possibly even, well, we can't check any of the tablets on Phant's side. So really, Mire only gave Desert in this case. Yes, while Phant does have the Master Sword, unfortunately without Mirror, checking Ether or Bombo's tablet is not possible right now, as Rick does get another GT small key on Spectacle Rock.
I see we got a few items here since I need to step away.
Yeah, we got the book and the Desert Big Key out of Mire, and of course the mirror on in the escape.
Not bad.
And Rick very nicely setting up the bomb version of the Harapot. Another one of those newer-ish tricks.
Meanwhile, Phant finishing off the Lamolas, getting a big key to Skull Woods. Oop. Little bonk there off the bumper. Try to follow that fine line between the bumper and the pit to just let you dash through. There it is.
And a very nice Moldorm kill there from Rick. Just one spin and a slash with that Tempered Sword, and down goes Moldorm. But unfortunately, nothing really coming out of this check. You know, we get that crystal. That'll be Rick's first so far, but nothing in terms of progression there. At this point, I think, you know, it's either that we need that book and mirror to kind of make a dent, or maybe it's the shovel check that we're going to get.
I did see the shovel get picked up, but sadly it's only compass.
Yeah, that was another item from Desert Palace.
Rick, meanwhile, making the play into Ice Palace without the hammer and without the Canis of Maria. Ooh.
Now the discussion becomes, you know, you're making a gamble here. You can't clear the dungeon technically without the hammer. Are you still going to bomb jump through Ice Palace without it?
I'd say yes, and mainly because you know that eventually you're going to be there. But it's just going to get the Math of Thieves out and mirror. Interesting.
And going back in, I'm very curious what the thought process here is on this one.
I don't know. Oh, apparently there was a despawn that happened. I didn't even know that could happen here in Ice Palace.
Yeah, that's new information for me as well.
Although, didn't he kill the... I've had to watch that back. I don't remember if he killed the Pengators or not.
He did. He did pull the Pengator chest, so... And Rick is going with the bomb jump strategy here. As Phant begins checking our first tablet with Ether Tablet and finds just a red rupee.
Man, I'm just reading chat here, and yeah, that just did actually spawn. I don't recall him killing Pengators. That's pretty intriguing. What? Now there's the Canis of Maria. area halfway through the dungeon of Ice Palace.
Now that's a very interesting find. Unfortunately, at this point, it really doesn't give us anything directly progression-wise. We can't get into TR still without that hammer, and we can't clear Mire without the big key.
That is true. I just find it humorous that you are not allowed to icebreaker the seed. The hammer's still eluding us. It could still be the in GT, or not GT, Aga Tower. Sorry.
Actually, Phant, Rick checked both of our Aga Tower chests, and we didn't get anything of importance there this time.
Ah, okay. I must have missed that when I was away.
Yeah, Rick kind of grouped together the Hyrule Castle checks with that one.
Okay.
We do have this one last check in Ice Palace coming up in the U-shaped room. Everything else will be hammerlocked at this point. Given that Rick has the mirror and the flute and the Titan's mitts, I have to believe that Mire and Desert...
Hammer!
Oh my gosh!
Oh my goodness! This Ice Palace is so evil and I love it.
Yeah, this is definitely an Ice Palace that does not tell you... It's not a welcoming Ice Palace, but oh wow, is this required for this seed?
Doesn't allow you to icebreaker, you have to dim about the hammer, and yet there it is. And there's this even small key to this dungeon, which I think is the other small key. I think there's only two in Ice. Oh no, there's only, that was the first.
So
yeah.
a huge gamble paying off immediately. You know, that is a play that a lot of runners would have a tough time making, and wow, has it paid off for Rick.
Yeah. There's no denying it. That was just lucky. And well, Rick is playing as a rabbit.
And at this point, you know, this gives Rick the ability to go clear TR. Obviously, won't be able to check Lava Island, but I don't think he'll care.
Yeah, in terms of items, we still need the bow and the lamp. Lamp for Aga Tower climb. Although it is possible to do it without the lamp. I am still of the opinion that I refuse to learn the dark rooms of Aga Tower.
I agree very much. I will say I have done it with a Fire Rod and half magic, because then I can just spam Fire Rod shots until I eventually find the lamp in the room where you can fall.
Almost tablet being checked. 10 arrows. So we need the bow, the lamp, and then the big keys to Eastern, Desert, Thieves Town, and Misery Mire, and of course the Ganon Tower big key.
And it looks like one Castle Tower small key as well.
Yes.
And,
of course, and a whole slew of small keys maybe for the other dungeons.
Yeah, Phant is going to be checking one of the other places. Yeah, only 2 chests possible for Phant in Swamp Palace, and unfortunately, given that we know where that hammer is, you know, this could be something key-wise, but it's not going to pay off in terms of being able to clear Swamp Palace.
Yeah, the worst thing I think Phant can find here is the bow in the first 2 chests. Is that'll lead him astray thinking to go to Pod, Easter, and then Super Fairy, and then the Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, luckily, Phant won't be able to clear either of those dungeons. Without that hammer, Palace of Darkness still incomplete, and no Eastern Palace big key, so that's no new information there. So Phant did clear out the other 4 checks in Eastern Palace earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is pretty much a last location for Ice Palace for Phant, but Phant is headed there now, so...
Meanwhile, we'll see what the rest of the Swamp House holds here on Rick's End. And it's not quite a last location, because I don't think we've seen all the mirror spots yet.
In terms of mirror locations, I believe we have not seen Graveyard Ledge and Checkerboard Cave. And possibly even Cave 45. So yeah, there are still a few other mirror locations left.
Alright, let's see what we got here in Swamp.
Apologies, chat, reminding me Cave 45 was a shield.
Ah, that explained the one where... Oh, I guess they both ignored it then. Or whoever found it ignored it, because they definitely got this shield here in Swamp. Alright, 20 rubies in Swamp.
And while we were not going to get to see Icebreaker in this seed, it looks like we are going to see some Diver Down, which is kind of like a sibling trick to the Icebreaker. They were discovered around the same time.
Yeah, it's one of those tricks that looks easy, but is actually quite difficult.
Yeah, and it looks like Rick is going to do the Cane of Samaria version. So what you do is you pretty much go up against that rail, and as soon as you jump into the water, you're holding down right, and as soon as you hit the water, you let go of down, and then once you're out of the water, you've slightly clipped into the rail, and you kind of hold up and hold out your sword to get your way into the rail and jump into the water. And that is a very dirty way to explain it, I know.
There's the case scenario for Phant. And yeah, it's a little bit more complex than it sounds. And there is a bomb variation set up with it as well, much like you have... Well, actually, there isn't one for the Icebreaker for Ice Palace. Yeah, there's our lamp, though, on Left Side Swamp. So in terms of items, and only items, we need the bow. But of course, this is key standing, we still need a bunch of small keys. And of course, a few big keys as well. So we're only approaching the 70-minute mark of the seed, and they've actually done quite a lot of work here.
Yeah, we've seen 4 dungeons cleared across the 2. Rick still has not been able to go clear Desert, having not gone into Mire, whereas Phant, well, is in the process of clearing out Ice Palace.
There's our bow! And a single arrow to go with it. But that gives us the items, all the items we need. But now we need to track down all the keys.
And that means Palace of Darkness is actually clearable, not logically, but is clearable from Rick's standpoint, and Pyramid Fairy is now open as well.
Yeah, I'd say Pod is beatable for Rick as well, yeah. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Rick goes there next instead of Turtle Rock, but we've gotten so many keys so early in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I think, going up to TR first makes sense just from the standpoint of I can do more up there. There's a lot more items to check than just going over to Pod right now. Rick did check Eastern, so knows there's nothing else there right now without that big key. And Pod's only going to really give one or two items at this point.
Yeah, I'm feeling like Turtle Rock's the play here. And Rick looks like he's in agreement, even though he can't hear me.
Meanwhile, Phant very nicely gets that cold stare kill, gets those important prizes out of Ice Palace.
Yeah, the Canis Mari and the hammer being there. Not exactly nice. And hey, but you have that small key I'm floating on too, I just realized.
Yeah, and that might be worth checking out before we head into TR, because if that's the 4th TR small, we can do everything in TR in one trip.
And if it's the 5th pod small, we can pull through pod. Or at least Rick can. Doesn't need to use the key on the Dark Maze because he's already cleared it.
Cold Sword! Right at the gate in Turtle Rock. Wow, alright.
Yeah, I think, our runners are going to be happy with the equipment they're finding. It's one of those things where you go back 2 weeks with the spoiler week, and our runners were definitely playing low percent strats. This week, expect pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think the only thing our runners would be appreciative of right now is armor. There's the small key to Hyrule Castle. Putting in all the lower checks in logic. Of course, our mirror was in the first guard checkpoint, so that was in logic regardless of where the small key was. And now we come to the chain jumps. Chain jumps are pretty dangerous.
Yeah, especially given green mail at this point.
Well, there's a bottle with a fairy in it. Not bad. But yeah, chain jumps are especially dangerous because I believe they do the second highest damage in the game, the highest being Ganon's contact damage. I believe they take a full 6 hearts off of you at green mail.
Now Rick is heading in towards the pokey, towards this pokey key here. Will I have to assume steal this key and clear the dungeon? Oh, was that an accident or?
Well, you got armor, so probably worth.
Yeah, I can't imagine Rick would have pulled that chest. I can't say, you know, that's his normal patterns for doing things, but that definitely looks like an accidental check of that door.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. But hopefully you can find the other small key. We have one small key in its own dungeon already. Let's make it two. Yeah, with the mirror checking Mimic Cave.
Now, one of the things that's really helped Rick here is not checking out that mire area at all. While we know that that is required to finish Desert Palace, the longer he's kind of held back from going there, there's that better chance he'll find the mire big key and be able to full clear mire in a single trip.
Alright. He is clearly not happy here.
Yeah, there's definitely some frustration, it looks like, from the what happened with that small key.
Hopefully the other small key's not too far into the seed. And the worst case scenario, honestly, that I can think of is that this is one of our pendants. In which case, that could be even locked inside the Ganastera big chest. But if this is a crystal, we'll find it sooner rather than later. There's our our fourth gnome bottle. There's the silvers. Map the Tower Hera. And the small key to this dungeon!
Bailed at the last possible second with a vanilla fourth small key to TR. Wow.
I'm reeling right now. Oh my goodness.
I mean, you can't wait to find out what a reaction Rick had pulling that key. You know, you are sitting there thinking, oh my god, did I just throw a huge portion of this race, and instead finding that key at the last second. Wow.
And he gets the armor out of it, and the knowledge and the satisfaction that he doesn't have to come back to Turtle Rock for anything. You know what? That was a fluke, but I consider that a victory all the same.
Yeah, Rick has been making, you know, that early gamble on TR or Ice Palace has paid off, and then, you know, even with a mistake like that in TR, still paying off and being able to clear this dungeon first trip.
And we get a small key, Dark Palace. That is the fifth small key.
Yeah, and given that Rick, you know, had done the hammer yump into the Dark Maze, that means Rick does have 3 keys right now and can get both the Harmless Hellway, the Harmless Hellway, the Vanilla Big Key Chest, and also be able to check or kill Helmasaur King.
Yeah, he does not need to send the key towards Dark Maze. He's already checked it with the hammer yump.
But we are going to see that floating island key. We are still missing at least one small key at this point. There's a few big keys we do need, but there's one small key we're looking for.
Small key to Terrahera. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that one, considering we've already finished the dungeon.
Yeah, definitely a key you're not happy to see, especially after having full cleared Hera or clearing the rest of Hera.
But Rick's in the area. Might as well check.
I wonder if this is, I don't want to call this metagaming in a sense, but at the same time, maybe Rick thinks, okay, I made a gamble earlier into, and I think that was an accidental mirror?
Possibly.
Maybe he figures I made a play into Ice Palace early. Maybe I have a little bit of time to be thorough right now.
I mean, he's got all the combat he could ever want here, so yeah. Meanwhile, Phant is coming back to get into Palace of Darkness to get that Tempered Sword.
And Phant is making that play with the bow, so this will be a clear of the rest of the dungeon.
And these are checks that Rick wanted to do but couldn't because he didn't have a potion bottle to break the camera here.
Now, the one thing that's, kind of bad for Phant here is only 2 small keys, so it is going to be Helmasaur and either the Harmless Hellway or the oh wait, never mind. We already saw the Vanilla Big Key chest on Phant's side, so this will be probably a Harmless Hellway check.
We're gonna finish this mountain climb here, checking the Spike Cave. And we get a map to Turtle Rock. Thanks, game, but we don't need that anymore.
And we have a map for Pod in Pod.
Oh no, that's just the worst, but thankfully it's one of our 5-6, so we knew what it was from the outside. So These Town is our last pendant. These Town Mire are our pendants. So Eastern is the last crystal. We actually got a map check. And that actually brings up what I was gonna say here. With one crystal withstanding, the other 2 big keys could be in GT.
Yeah, I think we're going to be heading for a large check of GT basement at this rate.
Not for a while. We still need to find the Eastern Palace big key before we can even get into GT.
Yeah, I think at this point, what we have left is Graveyard Ledge, Checkerboard, Helmasaur King, and the Pyramid Fairy, and I think at least one of those has to be our 6th pod small.
Like, the absolute worst case scenario for the scene right now is Eastern Palace big key leads to getting the B keys out of These Town Visitor Mire. And then the pendants lead to Castle Tower Small Key, but even then, we still need the GC Big Key. And we know now that the Castle Tower Small Keys can't lead to that.
In terms of the Desert Palace Big Key, we actually do know that that is in Misery Mire. Phant made a play into Mire a lot earlier, found the book and the Desert Big Key to clear them.
Yeah, and other than that, the Easter Path Big Key could be unped, the Cat's Tower Small Key could be unped, but the odds of those being on a ped is literally 1 in 100 plus, so yeah, not good odds there. And even then, we'll probably likely find the book first and check if it is a pedestal seed indeed. It's probably more likely that it's dependent big keys are in GT than it is for Eastern's big key to be on pedestal. Because we don't have many checks left, except for the mirror checks.
Yeah, I think in terms of density at this point, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Rick head into Desert Mire area and do as much as he can there. Maybe a check of Pyramid Fairy first, but definitely Desert Mire on his end.
Rick's gonna come in and make sure to check the last 2 checks. Meanwhile, Phant is gonna now do Turtle Rock. Or probably not get that armor.
Yeah, I can't imagine Phant's gonna check it. At the same time, I wonder how that's gonna, seeing that the 4th TR Small is on Laser Bridge, that becomes another orphan's check for Phant that will be considered to have to go view later.
Alright, Frick is now full cleared Palace of Darkness. I think the only play for Rick is to dip Mire, which will give him access to Desert. And it looks like that is what he's doing. He might also check Checkerboard first.
Yeah, given that we don't have the Mire Big Key, I think it's reasonable to assume that we'll see that. Yep, here we go.
Oh yeah, chat's reminding me, we haven't seen the Skullwood's big chest yet either. We found that big key after we finished the dungeon. Oh, small key, hang on. Ganon's Tower, ah. Still, that's nice. That lets him have a little bit more of the basal forward logic.
Now, Rick is going to check the front portion of Desert first. Not a terrible idea. Definitely a little quicker than going into Mire. Hoping maybe I'll find that Mire Big Key and can do that all in one go. And Desert's definitely an easier dungeon to have to return to at a later time.
Yeah. And there's that shovel we knew of.
And Quake equipped. Yep.
This is Meyer for Rick.
So, given what we know at this point, it's Graveyard Ledge or Pyramid Fairy, and I think there is a reasonable assumption to believe that Graveyard Ledge might be our 6th Podsmall, and Pyramid Fairy is going to be the answer.
Have we seen Ether yet, actually?
Yes, we did see both the tablets from Phant. When Phant got the book, he proceeded to head up to Death Mountain to clear Hera.
Okay.
And this is that routing we were talking about earlier with Misery Mire. Just having that one small key allows you to head left first in this dungeon in order to hit these fire-locked chests, and then you are able to proceed to the right side afterwards.
There's the third Skull Heat against Tower now. And then it puts the entire dungeon in, well, mostly in logic, save for accidentally opening the door between the left and right hand sides of the basement.
I don't know if Phant will go back in. I think the greater possibility is maybe take a mirror back to that door at the best case. But I think, yep. So yeah, this was the quicker option. Take a mirror back to the big chest door and work your way back to Lava Island instead of clearing the dungeon and then having to go forward again.
And Rick went back to the front of Smire. Did I miss something?
Possibly another accidental mirror. Yeah, one of the things that's definitely a little bit more awkward about Quick Swap is I feel runners are probably having a lot more of these accidental mirror plays.
Alright, well. We're in the final stretch here. There's only a few things left we don't know of, and pretty soon we're gonna have to start checking them.
Yeah, the big question here is, you know, Phant has cleared a lot of these ones that Rick hadn't. You know, we saw the tablets, and some of those other checks, whereas Rick has been able to kind of focus in on these dungeons. So while there's not a ton of overworld for Rick to check, there are more options out there.
Yeah, the thing is, Rick has checked, the checks that Rick has left alive are... They're actually not that bad now that I think about it, because they're mostly centralized around, Kakariko and the mountain. So, wouldn't be that much time lost to go get them.
And actually, I just realized one of the options we do have that we have not actually checked out in the Kakariko area was the Magic Bat. We've had that powder for a little while, but only recently got Mirror and Hammer to as the two options to get there.
And there's also the Phant rocks there, for the hammer pegs.
And that Skullwood's big chest.
Which Rick just now got the big key of. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the next play is either Super Bomb or checking the dark Village of Outcasts area for Rick. Rick first out of the dungeon and is deciding on Super Bomb. And we're going to stay on the mountain for a little bit longer, maybe checking the last couple of checks here.
Yeah, I believe Phant hasn't done Hera Basement and Spike Cave, so that's probably what we're going to see.
Yeah.
And Rick is gonna do the the big bomb check with also K45 and shovel. And no love for that fire shield.
Oh,
That is unfortunate. There we go. Oh no! Phant trying to get that pixel there to protect himself from getting hit by the tiles, but unfortunately he has to block all these tiles now manually. And as we have checks going back and forth here, there is, as you can see, there is a 12 next to each runner's name. We didn't mention this at the start of the broadcast, but both of these runners are currently 4 and 6 in the league. So they're about middle of the pack, actually. So, yeah, this is a pretty good, close grouping between these two teams.
alright, it's time for some new checks here. Come on, Rick, let's see that Super Bomb.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, Invitational League is top 3 teams in each division make the playoffs?
I don't remember. But here we go. Super Bomb being transported right now by Rick. Looks like Phant will soon be following. So if we're based on progression alone right now, Rick has the lead as far as we are aware right now, but still has the looming checks of Ether at the back of his mind. And both runners haven't checked the big chest of Skull Woods yet.
Yeah. On Rick's side, it was a good set of plays, you know, being able to merge Bombos, Shovel, K45, and Big Bomb all together. So, very nice grouping.
Compass and a big key to Eastern Palace! That's all 7 crystal dungeons available to be cleared.
And that means we're likely about to see almost a sort of variation on our the GT Big Key game, except we're looking for 3 keys.
We're looking for 3 big keys, and they could be anywhere. They could possibly not even be in GT.
So yeah, we're looking for the Thieves Town Big Key. We're looking for the Meyer Big Key, the GT Big Key, and a Castle Tower Small Key.
Yeah, but as a reminder for those coming in, this is all dungeons, which means we need to get all crystals, all pendants, and both forms of Aghanim. And Graveyard Ledge is only 10 bombs.
And Rick is taking the Eastern Palace Big Key and saying, you know what, let's just do this, let's get that 7th crystal, and I have to imagine we're going to see a play up to GT after that.
Actually, it depends, now that I think about it. We could just have the big key from Meyer or Thieves Town in the big chest or on Armos Knights, and he might want to go there first. It is a possibility we do not really ignore. But we'll see where the items lie. He's obviously gonna be checking them on his way to Armos Knights.
And I could be mistaken, but I think at this point, given everything we've seen, I think the Skullwoods Big Chest may have to be our last pod key.
Yeah, because the boss is left behind all 6 small keys. I would be inclined to agree with you on that logic.
Unless there is something I have forgotten we checked, or did not check at this point.
Oh, Hammer Face and Pat. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, still a little room for error, but one of those 3 checks is definitely ours. One of them is... Words are hard sometimes. One of them is most likely the pod small key that we're missing.
I don't believe we saw hammer pegs, just because by the time we got hammer, this became very much a I'm gonna go clear dungeons moment, and that's pretty much where our runners have stayed.
Yeah, there's the last crystal of the match. We now have access to GT. So the question is Rick gonna go straight to GT, or is Rick gonna check the Village of Outcasts area, just to make sure that GT Big Key's not there lying in wait, so that he can full clear it on this first visit. Nope, going straight up the mountain. Going with the item density, and with GT being as dense as it is, I don't blame him one bit.
Yeah, even without that big key, we still have access to 22 locations right now. But Phant is going to check out at least the magic bat. This could be a very big moment. If one of our big keys is here on magic bat, or even some of those other 2 Dark World checks, could really change the trajectory of this race.
On Magic Bat, we have 300 rupees, so it's not Magic Bat. So that Palace of Darkness Monkey is either in the William Chest of Skull Woods, like you said, or it's in Hammer Pegs. It's one or the other. If our logical thinking is correct. And it looks like Phant is gonna check before entering PC. And honestly, between the 2 plays, they both have their own merits. If Rick finds the GT Binky here, he can pull her in the first visit. Phant, on the other hand, is taking some extra time, but is making sure that they don't have to climb the mountain again. And sure enough, there's a big key there on the torch! And it's just Ganon's Tower!
So yes, this will mean that Rick will be clearing GT pretty much completely.
And sure enough, Dark Palace small key, like you thought. Two more big keys still lying in wait though, folks, as is one small key. And that's not the small key we're looking for. Is it this one? No, I just saw it light up. It's the small key to this dungeon.
Yeah, and in this kind of scenario, when we need so much, I think there's less of a case to be made for GT routing playing a role, because it is very unlikely that you're going to find every key very quickly on one side or the other, so you pretty much anticipate you're doing a full clear.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Stalfos gets in the way of that Kana Samaria block.
Yeah, the shot completely whiffing. So Phant's not completely out of this just yet. Because the other 2 keys happen to be on the right side, then Phant can go straight up the tower and just finish the seed. But
yeah, this could be there's definitely reason to do almost a Dark Magician strat here still.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Random Room has for us a heart container. Small key to Castle Tower. That's something we needed. So it is moot. You have to clear the full both sides. Most likely.
Yeah, and that means we are guaranteed to find, one of our big keys here, and whichever big key we find in this dungeon, if not both, will be in probably the other dungeon.
Well, it could be neither still. We still haven't checked the hammer pegs as far as I'm aware. Oh, there's one. Swamp Palace, though.
Oh no.
We forgot there was still a dud of a small key big key out there. Whoops. But that could also lead to one of the big keys we need.
Yeah, there's definitely some, almost want to say nightmare scenarios here where we're missing some very important things, and they can be in those checks we never had to make earlier.
Nice, Armos. Done dusted. Big key! Thieves Town! Big key to Meyer as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a collective go mode as far as we are aware. And the Smoky and T-Sound's right side as well. So all the remaining keys are here in GT. This is a go mode.
And it is going to be a full clear of this basement. There was no way to get around checking everything down here. The only thing we're really going to escape with is, well, I was about to say we're going to escape without seeing tile room, but Rick is going to give the people what they want and show us the tile room.
I mean, as far as Rick is concerned, he's making sure he's only got one check left, and that is to find the Misery Mire big key, which we know is a little bit further in. Now, in this scenario, it is actually faster to go straight to Aga 1 after doing Aga 2 here. And then going to do the 2 pendant dungeons afterwards. Because then, with the mirror in hand, you can save warp beyond and then beyond the pyramid for the Ganon fight.
Yeah, it would be definitely the right play from the runners. You know, don't worry about the health, really. We've got so much safety at this point.
And there we go. Go mode for Adirondackrick. 152 and change. Big key to Misery Mire collected. Doesn't even care about this big key, the small key to Thieves Town. Phant and closing in on the Castle Tower small key, which will be his go mode. And Rick is throwing caution to the wind. He knows he has a fairy in the back pocket. This is going to be pretty smooth sailing for him.
Heads up play there to grab a few extra arrows. We still have that Vitreous kill to do in Meyer, so, you know, we'll be wasting, well, not wasting, but we'll definitely be using 11 silver arrows on Vitreous, as well as I'm assuming Rick's going to use silvers to take down Landmo, too.
Yeah, maybe using silvers to take out some of the guards on the way up the tower. Aga Tower specifically.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only 9 small eyes for Vitreous. 4 on each side and 1 in the center.
I mean, Vitreous does have those other 4 eyes that don't attack, but details. I haven't really kept count. Now, looks like Rick found the 3rd shield in here, I just realized. And there is go mode for Phant. 154-14.
So about a 2-minute difference separating our runners at this point.
And a 2-floor gap as they simultaneously enter the 3rd and 5th floors of Ganon's Tower, respectively.
So yeah, the end of this race is just going to come down to execution. You know, how well are our runners going to climb up Ganon's Tower and get through these last little bits of the dungeons. There's definitely some spots where we could see some differences in terms of, you know, maybe Spooky in Meyer can save a little bit of time, but in general, this is going to be just pure execution from here on out.
in my mind, it doesn't really matter which dungeon they do after for between these town and Misery Mire. You do those dungeons 3rd and 4th respectively, and the next dungeon you do after GT is Aga 1.
Agreed. Yeah, we should see Aga 1 first. Go through Aga Tower, and then it's dealer's choice.
Rick
For
bombing
last position.
the final chest in GT.
And at this point, there really is nothing our runners could really ask for. Red Mail is somewhere out there, but these runners do not need it.
Yeah, especially with the health total they have, and the amount of safeties they have on top of that. I go and fight, only getting a single on the first pass. Kind of an awkward set to get anything more on. Another single there. I got trolling a bit. Oh, this is good though. Double.
Yeah, nice double. Unfortunately, we did get a blue ball there. And another double to finish off.
So that is Aga 2 down, but it is not time to fight Ganon just yet, folks. As a reminder, this is all dungeons. We need to get the other 2 pendants out of Thieves Town and Misery Mire, and also defeat Aga 1. And first up, at least as far as I can think of, it's Aga 1. Yep, Rick's inclined to agree. Huh. Was the barrier there?
They'd both... was it? They'd both checked the Aga Tower checks, so...
Oh, right. I forgot.
It's been a seed. We've had a lot of checks.
It certainly has been a seed. This randomizer, all dungeons can is pretty much the closest you're going to get to 100% seed. And oh boy. Gold Sword making short work of these enemies here.
Yeah, don't even need to see use of those silver arrows.
Alright, let's see how Phant handles Aga 2 here. There's that awkward starting position. At least gets a double on the first pass, so already doing fairly nice. A single there. Unfortunately, only a single there. Well, should get a double here. And
So
would have been a
also,
triple.
Yeah, another 4-cycle Aga 2 there, so no time gained or lost on Aga 2.
Yeah. Alright, so how many blue balls are we going to get for Aga 1? In a worst case scenario, as many as 15. If we don't miss.
I'm a man who plays by the averages. I always say we're getting about a 3 or a 4. I don't like to see those extremes.
I usually go 2, so I'm around the same boat here. And Phant is got a mirror bonk here, unfortunately. And unfortunately, there is a thing of blue ball there. And I like the quick swap to the music. Looks like we got at least 3 here.
I think that should do it, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
First shot is always guaranteed against Saga 1 to be reflectable.
Yeah, I just lost count a little bit, or had to check my count on it.
And there's that refill I was talking about, but unfortunately we can't take advantage of it because we still need to clear our pendant dungeons. So, possibly going to start with Meyer? Nope, starting with these down. And this makes sense because Thieves Town is the dungeon that Rick has to make the most progress in order to get to the end. And this also will give Rick an opportunity to try to stock up on a few more arrows from killing a few enemies along the way. If he even decides to run into them like that.
Yeah, I think we do have enough silver arrows if, you know, no misses across the board or errant shots. So, not the worst, even if we don't see any.
Yeah.
Now, this is actually going to be an interesting piece for Phant. Phant could actually make up a few seconds there in that hallway. Phant found that Thieves Town small key, and thus won't actually need to go up the hallway to get that key.
Yeah, Rick teleporting away just as he was about to pick it up. Still, that's only a couple seconds off of a lead that's roughly 30 to even a minute at this point. Possibly even more.
I was going to say, I think Rick came onto the pyramid at roughly 2 hours and 44 seconds. So yeah, it is about a 2-minute lead still.
Alright, Phant is now done. Gets the full restore. Rick just needs to grab the vein and go.
And at this point, we will not have much of a comparison to be able to work with, as Phant is instead heading into Misery Mire first to get that Vitreous kill. But Phant will want to find some more arrows at this point, down to 14, unless Phant decides to go with Cape Dash strats on the small eyes.
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad thing. It would only take 3 dashes worth to get past them with the gold sword. And probably, yeah, that's probably the faster kill, honestly. Certainly the more resource efficient. Oop, little off cycle here for the blind pipe. But gets it done. Phant is one of those interesting bosses. If you follow a specific pattern, he'll move the same every time and be pretty easy. You get off that pattern though, he can be one of the hardest bosses in the game.
Yeah, it's definitely worth at least learning the first 2 phases of the blind script. If you can get through phase 1 and 2 on script, even a mistake in phase 3, which is a lot more common, you should be very safe in that fight.
Alright. Rick in Meyer. Phant about to fight Viddy. We'll see what strat Phant decides to choose. Phant is going with the silver strats. Does get zapped by lightning. Ooh.
I believe Phant still has a fairy, so wouldn't have been the end of the world, but you know, a lot closer than you'd hope for on that fight. The one
Yes.
problem here is that Phant is only down to 2 silver arrows now.
Yeah, not enough to defeat Ganon with silvers alone.
So hopefully Phant keeps that in mind and is able to find at least a 5 arrow pack somewhere along the way. And
Rick,
unfortunately, I
meanwhile,
do not know the all the pots in Thieves.
I don't remember either, but Rick can just do whatever shot he fancies. He's got 23 arrows. He didn't miss a fair amount of times in order to be below 4 arrows for Ganon. And in an extreme situation, Phant can use the shovel to dig for more arrows. But that, of course, eats up time that he cannot afford to use at this stage. So he's going to have to hopefully know where some arrows are here in GT, or Thieves Towns, rather. And gets lucky with a 10-pack drop from the first Zach he kills. That just put a huge ease on Phant's mind, I'm sure.
But Rick is heading into the Vitreous fight and also going with the silver arrows. And is able to get that off, all the silvers off, without a single lightning strike coming off of Vitreous.
And with that, all bosses have been defeated that required for this goal. And as a result, Ganon is now vulnerable. It is time to fight the pig. We are going to see a save warp here, which will put Rick on the pyramid and ready to fight Ganon.
And Rick is dropping into Ganon at 207.56.
Ganon
For the
dropping
Ganon fight, luckily, you know, having that gold sword means just 6 slashes per phases 1 and 2.
Yeah, pretty straightforward fights here. Gets the first slash in phase 3. Afterwards, the darkness sneak, keep the torches lit, stun with the sword for silver arrows, and that is GG. Alright, here we go. Times the slash pretty well there. Gets a free hit. Oh, is that a triple? 1, 2, 3! That is a triple! Ladies and gentlemen, get your GGs in chats for ALTTTPR. We'll take the first game of 2 that these two teams will face off. The other team will face this Friday, or 2 members of the team on Friday, but that is GG with an official race time GG time of 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 17 seconds.
Yeah, very nicely done on that, you know, getting the 2 fire rod shots to position Ganon in a way that it was very easy to get that triple off. You know, instead of going for torch glitch, there is a lot of logic behind letting both torches go out so you can line up that shot and get those extra hits in.
And
meanwhile,
Blind is now down for Phant.
Yep, Phant finishing up Blind and will be heading off to the pyramid. And on the other side of this is that Phant is going to flute over to there.
Yep, I'll need to keep the health for the fight.
So yes, this is definitely a safer move in the sense that you will have that extra health. It's just also a little bit slower given the time required to get back to the pyramid.
All right, let's see how Phant handles the Ganon fight here. Easy phase 2 transition. Getting the cave out just to make sure they're to get an extra couple of hits in for good measure. Gets the first hit on Ganon here. There's a third hit. And there we go. That should set up for a quick hit there. Ooh. Careful there, Phant. Getting a little greedy. And not quite in position for a triple now. This will be a double here.
Yeah, when it comes to setting up for those doubles or triples, what you have to remember is that if Ganon hits the edge of the platform, that's when he teleports. So, if you push him onto that edge with the first arrow, then he won't be able to get a second one off.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your GG chats and Phant now. Now finishing strong here for his team, the Sexy Ganons. Once again, folks, the second match between the Bomb Squad and Sexy Ganons will be Friday at 6:10, and that is GG for Phant with an official finish time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 26 seconds. And we've enjoyed for a little while here by someone. Care to say hello, Adirondackrick?
Hi.
So, the first thing I want to talk about, as we are now also joined by Phant here, I want to also ask this. Ice Palace. That was insane.
Yeah. Nice
Sure was.
Kena Samaria and Hammer there.
Who put that there? I want to know. I have strong words for them.
Yeah, I have strong words for them too. Thank you. In the last possible chest it could be in.
Yeah, by last location, that hammer as well, I think.
I think I had a few other loose overworld squares I could have gone to at that point, but that it just felt like that seed was sniffing, hey, go to Ice Palace relatively early.
Yeah, that definitely, looking at it, was one of those very early plays, because I think at that point you did have a lot of overworld checks, as well as we saw Phant enter Swamp Palace first.
Yeah, and the other thing that was telling us to do was go to Turtle Rock first. And Rick, that's an interesting story there at Turtle Rock with you.
Hi.
I could only assume that you did not meant to use the key on the lava chest.
I fully intended on using the key on lava chest, because I'll tell you why. I had it marked down that I had all 4 Turtle Rock keys at that point.
Oh.
So imagine my surprise when I get to the end of Laser Bridge and I see this is a small key to this dungeon.
What?
Wow.
We were worried for a second that you just oh no, I accidentally opened the store. And then you just got bailed out by the very last chest in Turtle Rock.
I've talked over the course of the last few days about how crummy my luck has been in regards to randomizers in general. Okay, I think we can just throw that out the window after getting that Turtle Rock savior play.
Indeed. You had some incredible luck this seed. Even I will admit that freely.
Now, I do want to ask this question here. Did you either of you notice what happened to me in Ice Palace?
So we were kind of curious, and we had missed the exact details, but were filled in also by chat that you had a despawn.
Yeah, I had to despawn, so I went through the door to go downstairs, I thought it was kind of strange. I didn't have any of the gels come after me. So then I walked into the Pentagator room and, oh, there's the chest already. This does not look right. And I know
Yeah, I
if I
think
go
that
any
was-
further, and I know if I go any further, that also means that Cold Stare is not going to be downstairs at the very, very bottom. So I cannot keep it like this.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think that was a first for a lot of us to see tonight.
It was. I never heard, I mean, I knew about the GT despawn. I didn't know it could also happen in Ice Palace. That was definitely a first for me.
Yeah, I've never had it happen in Ice Palace myself. I knew it was possible. I seen someone else do it. I still
I
don't
thought
know how it happens. And I don't know. Link to the Past, I think from all of us, putting in hundreds and hundreds of hours watching it, playing it, investigating it, and there's a lot of stuff that's like, man, this game's weird.
Yeah,
there's
I
a lot of
think
weird things in this game.
Yeah, I think that was one of those cases right there. I knew I was going to be up against a good opponent in Phant, so I'll take a 3-minute win here. It's my first win of the season, so that gets me off that schneid. But Phant's a
Yeah, I'm
good
working on
opponent.
mine. I need to get my win next week.
Randomizer co-op next week. You got it.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course, your teams are not done yet. You still have one more race to go, as I mentioned, Friday at 6:10. Restream to be determined at this point in time, but
Yeah, the
it
battle-
will be.
The Battle of the Freds.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it is Freddy versus F. Coughlin.
Yeah. Now I'll look forward to if it's a time that works for both of us, just talking to Rick in the chat, watching that, or maybe he's going to commentate his own teammate.
We'll see about that. And yes, I noticed chat, by the way, talking about my interesting mirrors that very well could have doomed me with that Desert Big Key in that chest I had just mirrored away from over in Misery Mars. And I knew it right away. I was like, oh, but I've been burned by loose squares enough already that I had to get back to that chest immediately.
So yeah, there's not much else to say about the scene. It was quite entertaining, to say the least, especially
Yeah.
in the mid game.
4 big keys in Ganon's tower.
What you didn't even
Everything
need.
was there. Go mode was just in Ganon's tower. I think it had 5 keys because you had the castle tower key as well as the 4 big keys all in there.
And also GT4, not that we need it, but that was there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, of course. No, I think I've learned things since the first time I did Key Sanity a couple years ago, where there are 2 things you don't do ever, unless you forget about something. You never go through to the lava room with a small key. Ricky got away with this one, but
Yeah, I
may not be
did.
so lucky next time. You never do that, and then you never spend keys you don't have to in Ganon's tower. You make it so you don't need to go hunt for all these keys, because wow, if you mess up, then who knows where that other key could be.
Yeah,
And it
feels
could be in
bad,
a
man.
bad
I
place.
mean,
same with
I've
Pod as well. I don't know about you. I save scummed to check everything in Pod. My first visit, I found the tempered sword and save scummed the central chest. And then
By the time I went into Pod, my final time to beat the dungeon, I had 5 of 6 keys, so I was able to get everything at that point.
yeah, that's always a scary one because it's time consuming to do Pod with minimum keys.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of making an investment that the other keys are going to be in bad places. And if they're on the way, then they're like, shoot, that's unfortunate.
And-
or you do it earlier, you do it later.
And I did a practice seed last night where Desert Big Key turned out to be, or Pendant Desert Palace Big Key turned out to be in the Palace of Darkness Big Key chest. So
And now that we have the collection rates on screen, congratulations on both of you for getting the exact same collection rate at the exact.
Yeah, we were
singing.
talking about that. Oh, look at that.
yeah,
And that means just
188.
Rick obviously just 100% out executes me because we got the 188 same checks. Got the
Yeah.
exact same items. I guarantee it.
How I do want to ask you this, Phant. How long did it take for you to get that mirror out of Hyrule Castle?
A long time. I had the hammer
Yeah.
before that.
I don't know if I had the hammer, but I know that I was starting to run out of locations. No, I definitely didn't have the hammer at that point.
Actually, I think I had the hammer before it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely certain.
Rick, on your side, it was you were able to do Hyrule Castle and then head straight into Ice, and then it pretty much became dungeon mode for you. Just cleared one dungeon after the other.
Mhm.
Well, GG's to you both once again. And folks,
Yep.
make sure to follow these two runners to put on an excellent race for us tonight. But also, of course, make sure to follow SpeedGaming and SpeedGaming 236 so you don't miss any racing action, not just the league. And speaking of the league, we do have a few more matches for you tonight on the schedule here. But only one, and it's already a good ways in. It's Komodo Hypers versus We Got Good, Check Human versus Wall Kicks over on SpeedGaming 1. That race is already about an hour and 20 minutes in. We should be able to catch the last half of it.
Another Kakariko division team match up there.
Indeed. And, of course, the rest of these matches are on the schedule, but the next earliest match on the schedule is tomorrow at 1:10. Orphers RS versus Double Dippers. Humbug versus Edidump. Again, reissuing to be determined, so it may not happen, but that is the earliest time we have on the schedule.
Awesome. And Rick, I don't know if you noticed this or were caring about this, but I think that win that you pulled off here, I think guarantees you an invite back to next season of the league.
Nice.
I think that guarantees that for you, being 15 points. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can pull in to make sure we can get back into the league. And because, man, shout outs to the production team and like all the commentators, all the trackers making this possible, because these tournaments are a blast. I love the format. I love how every week it's different. I love like how many people we get to showcase, and it's wonderful. I'm a big fan of this concept, and I hope I can keep doing these. So thank you all. Thank you, production team, and everybody organizing this. I do mean that.
Of course, I do want to thank our tracker once again, Atro, for tracking this race, keeping those items up to date for us. And of course, to my co-commentator, Radical Sniper here as well, for being an excellent co-tom covering for me when I had to step away for a moment. And of course, you can give me a follow as well. For all of us here, though, at Elite and Fast Randomizer League, I have been Wolfling0270, and we shall see you all next time. And thank you for watching. Have a good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Give that Phant guy a follow.
Thank you.